Hey everybody, welcome to another comic book review. In this video, I'll be talking about one of my favorite Batman stories, Batman the Cult, by Jim Starlin and Bernie Wrightson. And this book is really cool because it does something with Batman that I hadn't seen done until reading this book a few years ago. And that is, it just totally breaks the character of the Batman. Now, I will say, if you're one of those people that is like unmovable on Batman's no-kill rule, the rule that he made for himself, where he promised himself and his parents that he would not kill anybody in preventing crimes, I don't know how you're going to feel about this book. I'm not going to spoil anything, but basically, this book does some things with Batman that were pretty controversial at the time of its release, and kind of still are to some degree. I don't honestly have a problem with the way they handled this story. I don't think it betrays the character of Batman. I think, given the context of the story, I think everything is done very, very well, and I think all of it makes sense. So, the story of this one is, it starts off with Batman being captured and tied up in a sewer. He's been apprehended by this religious cult that lives in the sewers and is led by Deacon Blackfire, who is basically like this very powerful leader who has these mystic powers, or at least claims to have mystic powers, and he uses these ancient medicines and techniques to not only preserve his own lifespan, but also to kind of force control over other people to obey his will. So he has this entire legion of homeless people that live in the sewers with him. And, you know, of course, he's got this luxurious living space underground, while everybody else is just kind of living in squalor. And nobody sees the hypocrisy of what Deacon Blackfire is standing for. And whenever Batman is captured by Deacon Blackfire, he's broken. Like, Blackfire corrupts the Batman, and Batman is kind of under the control of the Deacon for a pretty substantial amount of this story. He's and you can tell he's fighting it. His subconscious is telling him, yo, look, something's up, something's not right. And yet the Deacon just has such a power over people that he makes them see things that aren't there. He makes them believe things that are not true. And he has this effect over so many people. And so when Batman is one of those people that's corrupted, it's interesting because you can tell he knows that something's not right. He knows he doesn't want to be there. And people up above are starting to realize that Batman does not have the presence in Gotham that he used to. They're noticing that he's missing. Like, Commissioner Gordon and Robin are noticing that Batman is not patrolling the streets of Gotham like he used to. Everybody's wondering, where's Batman? The crime is going up. And there's nobody to help it. I mean, the police are doing what they can, but without Batman, it's just different. And crime is kind of running rampant in the streets of Gotham. So people are wondering, where is he? So Jim Gordon does some investigations, and Robin is sent after Batman, and together everybody kind of has to try and figure out a way to bring down the Deacon if they can. So it's really cool and very, very different for a Batman story. It's really dark. it's not overly dark. I don't think they overstepped any bounds here. But the art, for example, is done by legendary horror artist Bernie Wrightson. He did some work on Swamp Thing, and a lot of other like famous titles as well. But he's primarily known for his work with illustrating horror stories. And he really brings that to the table here. He draws some really like creepy scenarios and just kind of lets himself go all out for this story. There's some great action scenes, some great fights, a lot of really cool like dream sequences and hallucination sequences, where you're kind of not sure what is real and what is not real. Um, you also have this really crazy interpretation of the Batmobile. Has these giant like monster truck tires, and I love that. Like I love when something can be so over exaggerated but also like still be believable. And like I don't know, this book, it's really cool the way it's written. Jim Starlin really understood what he was doing in this book, because he takes a scenario that is hard to believe and he makes it believable. Everybody always kind of looked at Batman as like, this incorruptible, unstoppable force, and in this book, Starlin proves maybe not. Maybe he can be broken, and it's really interesting the way things are handled, the way things are done. Another thing I really appreciate about this book is, and it kind of, this aspect almost, it reminds me a little bit of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, where you get to see what the general citizens of Gotham are kind of thinking about the whole Deacon Blackfire situation. And you get like all the media coverage from the Gotham News. And, that was something that was explored in The Dark Knight Returns, where, there were a ton of sequences that had interviews from people throughout Gotham City to kind of see their stories and what was happening. And there was like a lot of sections in that story that focused on the general populace of Gotham. And this story does the same thing to an extent. I mean, it's not as extensive as Dark Knight Returns gets with it, but there are some segments where there's like news stories playing, and like you get to kind of see what the general Gotham population is thinking about Deacon Blackfire. Some people are on his side, some people think he's dangerous, and just seeing the social divide that Blackfire is kind of perpetuating, and it's really, really well done. I said in my review for A Death in the Family, which is also written by Starlin, that I much, much prefer his writing in this book over his writing in A Death in the Family. I still think that's true. Upon a reread of this book, I think that there's a clear difference in quality between those two books. I think this is the far superior book. And I mean, I know there are people out there who might disagree with me, but I stand by Batman the Cult. I think this is a fantastic Batman story. And I feel like if you're willing to kind of like go into a Batman story kind of with an open mind, and kind of accepting that this isn't the Batman that everybody is entirely used to, that you're probably gonna have a good time with it. Um, if you can keep an open mind with it and kind of accept some of the uh, like more vast differences in the story. Yeah. The one last thing I wanted to mention before I close out this review is the coloring by Bill Ray is really, really great. There's a lot of like splotchy kind of like paint splatters all throughout the book, kind of like here, and um, I don't know. It's just very very interesting. Like, you know, you get this here, you got all these like splotchy, very textured um, environments and backgrounds, and I love what Bill Ray was able to do with the color choices here. I think it's really something special. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Batman the Cult. Fantastic Batman story. Really recommend it if you have not already read it. Um, yeah, thank you as always for watching. Look forward to more videos in the future and have a great day.